I am Phil Landis. The Donegal Presbyterian Church Project 300 Committee has been preparing for this momentous anniversary for several years. As many of you may know, a collection of recipes and church history will be released this summer. The cookbook will be called Dishes of Donegal. This video is the second in a series of demos of actual recipes from the book. Today, we're going to feature some meal planning tips and several spring recipes featuring some history of our Strawberry Festival last held in the 1980s. Our first recipe today is chicken corn noodle soup by Joel and Jane Lehman. The series of photographs shows you the ingredient preparation. Joel has chosen a beautiful chicken, and that is simmered for several hours to create a nice broth. And Joel highlights the Trinity, which is also known as mirepoix, which is carrot, celery, and onions. And that's the basis for most any soup. But Joel, again, is featuring corn that he grew in his own garden and processed, along with all of these other ingredients. And so after Joel prepares his soup, frequently he will create several mason jars that he can keep at room temperature in his basement. Again, a beautiful presentation of the chicken corn soup, handmade from scratch in the old style method. Thank you. Traditional red beet eggs by Francis Matier. Francis most often makes 12 eggs at a time, so go ahead and double the recipe. But you see the vinegar, the beets, canned beets in this case. You obviously can use your fresh beets if you've grown some. But once you have those eggs peeled, you're going to drop those into that beet liquid. Some people like to do it in the ball jar. It can also be done in some kind of a plastic container. But leave those in overnight at least. Then Frances likes to add that her mother, Grace Bixler, liked to get creative and have a themed type of egg, sometimes substituting the beet juice for green St. Patty's, yellow spring, or any other color that she could dream up. So enjoy the recipe. Thank you. Nothing celebrates spring like a great strawberry shortcake. And today, we're going to show you how one can be made. So we're going to prepare the strawberries. We're early, so you're seeing some California strawberries, but hopefully you're going to be using beautiful local strawberries when they come in. So we're washing them. We're going to be cutting those up. I'm going to just start to do some of that right here. And to finish the strawberries, we're going to dust them with a little bit of sugar. When they're at their peak in early summer, late spring, you may not even need to add them at all. But cut them up and let them sit around for at least an hour so a natural sauce will develop. And then we will use them later on. Let's make these biscuits, shortcake biscuits. It is flour, the recipe calls for 3 cups. And so we've reserved some here that we're going to use for our dough rolling later. It gets some nice sugar. We're going to also reserve some of that. Gets a significant amount of leavening agent, 2 tablespoons, and a little bit of salt. So we also have our stick and a half of butter. Yes, we need this to taste incredibly good. I am going to break that up a little bit before we get this mixing. I'm going to say this a couple times, and I can't say it enough because you do not want to overmix things like this. You mix it too much, it gets tough. Okay, so let's roll this out onto a pastry cloth, or a tea towel will do. non-terry. So I'm gonna try to turn this into a bit of a rectangle. Dough feels really nice. You can move it around. So we're going to just turn this into a little rectangle. We're going to go right on into squaring it off so that we have nice square. Some people like round biscuits. I don't know. I just am fine with square biscuits as well. And we're going to get our baking tray ready. Get them on here. Of course, look at that. Look at that. And it turned into 12 instead of 10. That is incredible. All right. Bring this out and show. Yeah, oh, that came up really nicely. The non-stick pans are just incredible, aren't they? So we're going to take our biscuits into a nice bowl. And lovely ice cream. We are going to be very generous with our strawberry topping here. Some of you will like to add some whipped cream on top as well, and I would certainly not discourage that. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to continue on with some other meal planning tips. If you are like most of us, you are looking for delicious and healthy menu ideas that are not too tough to make. Well, we have a couple that we can try right now. Broccoli Quinoa Casserole by Diane Bittner is a nice combination using cooked quinoa, broccoli, 2 kinds of cheese, condensed soup, seasonings, which we mix together. We put it in a nice baking dish, and it goes into the oven, and it comes out golden brown and crispy, and even works as a snack for the next day if you have leftovers. Enjoy. Beef Stroganoff by Phil Landis. So gather your ingredients, find some high quality, well-trimmed beef. We have sour cream, we have mushrooms, onions, we have stock, and we have other seasonings. So this recipe features a bread cup, which is very easy to make. You can use muffin tins or pot pie pans. The bread needs to be well buttered, pressed into there. That takes 30 minutes in a very modest oven, 300 to 325 degrees. And you'll see here that they become very nice and brown. So the searing process is tough. You got your highest heat, you're putting butter in there, you're searing your meat, you're searing your onions, adding all of the other ingredients, creating that sauce. Then you're adding into it the sour cream, which is of course what makes it stroganoff. And then to finish it off, we're putting it in those beautiful bread cups and serving it with the lovely broccoli quinoa casserole dish for a beautifully rounded meal. Enjoy. Potatoes All Gretan by Karen Carnes. Karen has submitted an incredibly classical recipe of potatoes today, which I'm excited to feature. And so we start off by making a bechamel sauce with a roux and seasonings and milk. I hand sliced my own potatoes, and all of these things are put together in layers along with onions, and each layer gets the potatoes, it gets the sauce, it gets the onions, and you continue until you use all of those up. I think I got 5 layers in mine, and then I topped it off with additional cheese. And this has to bake for a solid 60 to 70 minutes. But boy, is the effort worthwhile, because it is a flavorful dish, very, very hearty, and it's going to go great with the lighter marinated salmon that we're going to talk about next. Salmon in a Dill Dijon marinade by Ruth Ann Dwyer. It was a lot of fun to make this dish, and I was surprised by the combination of ingredients in the marinade, but the vinegar, the oil, some sugar, fresh or dry dill, along with dry and Dijon mustard and soy sauce. So this gets mixed together, and you're pouring it over top of that salmon. Hopefully you've bought really good salmon and it's well trimmed and skinned. And so you're coating this. You want to leave it coated for at least 15-20 minutes before you begin to bake it. It can be baked in a 350, 375 oven. It doesn't take very long, 15 to 20 minutes approximately, depending on the thickness of your fillets. And as you see, it pairs excellently well with the potatoes au gratin. Enjoy. Ginger snaps by Frances Matier. So talk about an easy cookie recipe. Gather these ingredients together, put them all together, and mix them in your mixer. Scrape it, scoop them out, roll them into a ball. As you see on these photos, 3 inches apart, they spread out quite a bit. The balls are going to flatten as you bake them. They bake for about 15 to 20 minutes because these are extra jumbo, demonstrated here. And trust me, they are delicious. Thank you, Frances. Lime cookies by Carol Grosh, demonstrated in a wood oven. So this is a traditional creaming butter and sugar together, adding your seasonings, adding your flour gradually. These are best divided and refrigerated before handling. So make that dough, separate it into units, wrap them, and refrigerate them. You can then pull out one at a time. You're rolling it out to a 1/4 inch thickness and cutting it out with the cutter, baking it approximately 375, but keep an eye on the edges because the edges get brown very quickly, and you really want to pull them out without them browning very much at all. The cookies are delightful. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you. In our next video, we are going to sample some traditional dishes served at Donegal Society Reunion and show more contributors demoing their own recipes. In future editions, we will explore appetizer and dessert recipes to serve at gatherings. Thanks for watching.